That's my go-to. What's going on, y'all? You're truly here, DJ. Wait, one more time. Messed that up already. Right. Welcome once again to my frame of mind. Yours truly here, DJ Knots. This episode is brought to you by, as always, Live Hip Hop Daily and Hip Hop Gets Back. And on this special episode, we are truly honored and really can't wait to get into it. Because we need to cover a lot of things. We need to settle a few scores, yes, and set the record straight for sure. Glad to have the amazing brother, wealth of knowledge, always ready for the shits, Dave Anderson.
Thank you, brother. Thank
you. Welcome.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for taking time out.
Man, I wasn't gonna miss this. Listen, I had to pull up. I haven't been here in 312 pounds. It's long overdue, and now Philly's thinner.
Yeah, like listen, when you got to count it in pounds, you know it really matters. But let's get right to it. The show is called Frame of Mind. So initially, I want to ask you, what was your frame of mind when you heard VP Kamala Harris would be facing off against Donald J. Trump?
My frame of mind was without anybody voting. I'm like, that's not, because here's the thing, right? I believe in calling a spade, right? Iyanla Vanzant says, call a thing a thing. If you're going to say one person's a threat to democracy, what's less democratic than literally putting somebody in a position? This isn't like the president of the United States, God forbid, died. This isn't a situation where she's assuming the role of the president. She literally was appointed Democratic nominee. And when you do some research, and you can find this on CNN, MSNBC, any liberal news outlet, they'll tell you that the thing that was interesting was they said that if Harris wasn't on the ticket, all of those donations could not have been used. And there were about between 90 estimated, and I could be a little off on my math, but not by much, 90 to $120 million in donations that would not be released from donors if Biden was at the top of that ticket. So I think they looked at everything and said, let's just put her in there. And to me, if you want to talk about democracy, if that's really your thing, and I find that ironic in a constitutional republic that we're talking about democracy, because America has never been one. A threat to democracy is just appointing a candidate and telling everybody we love this person. And then the other thing that came to mind was, okay, this just got interesting because now, like Nikki Haley said, if Donald Trump doesn't drop out, whoever gets rid of their old person first is probably going to win. Right? And so now if Biden's out of the race, then the old person automatically becomes Donald Trump. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a situation where she doesn't have to do anything other than keep telling everybody she's not Donald Trump. You know, what can be unburdened by what has been. And I'm like, she's going to win some folks, but people are over it. Like, if this was '08, you could have ran this play all day. But it's 2024, and I think people want a little bit more than lip service and, you know, a noun, a verb, and I'm here for you because I'm black.
Right. We definitely going to come back to that. But let's get to the other good part. Sure. What brings you to Atlanta?
I am promoting my new book with Master P. I was able to co-author a book with him. It's called Mastering Wealth Volume 1 Power. And it's about really understanding what it means to be an entrepreneur. My chapter is on domination. I feel, in my professional opinion and personally speaking, that most people, especially when they look like us, phone it in. They don't do everything they possibly can do. You'll hear a whole bunch of people, especially in this town, and this city has given me a whole lot. So when I say this, I'm coming with the utmost respect. Oh, I'm about to break $1 million. Yeah? Then why are you sleeping in till 11 o'clock? I'm about to break $1 million, but you don't post, you don't keep up, you don't do anything to stimulate your customer base. You only talk to them once a month when you got a sale. Like, if we're going to get there, we got to stop doing just enough and start dominating the situation. And we have this thing where we think because we're not famous enough that people won't care. And I'm like, Beyonce's fans don't care how many albums she drops without knowledge. They want it. If Beyonce says, listen, I need all y'all to dress in tinfoil and come get this cowboy work, you going to
We saw it.
fuck a cable bill. We gonna go see Beyonce, and you bet not come for her, because we love country now. I'm like, so my whole thing is we're not doing enough to get to where we say we want to be. And I'm really big on holding people accountable to what they say they want. Because, you know, my work ethic's crazy, but I want you to at least own up to what it takes to get to where you say you want to be. And so this book brings together a ton of entrepreneurs. Think about it as chicken soup for the soul of Black entrepreneurship. You know, and it's got a preview of Dr. George C. Fraser's new book, and so I'll be speaking at New Birth with him, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Master P, and a host of other wonderful people. And I'm extremely excited. This is my 22nd book. This is my first. Thank you. This is my first compilation, collaborative type of book, collaborative book, and I'm excited about it. I'm like, okay, for 22, I can do a collaborative book. Why not? You know, listen, I'm speaking in New Birth, 7,500 people sold out.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I'm excited.
So speaking of collaboration, how did the collaboration between you and Master P happen?
Quite by accident. I had done a podcast, and there's people who are my so-called peers who will say, well, if this podcast doesn't have 100,000 downloads an episode, I'm not doing it. And then when people reach out to me, I'm like, yeah, no, I'll do your podcast. But we don't have a whole lot of listeners, and I don't care. Because to me, it's not about the venue. Everybody, Joe Rogan started with no listeners. Right. You don't know what's going to blow. Not to mention, I don't care what stage I'm on. I'm going to give somebody something that they can use. That's my job. My job is just give you the information. It's up to you to do something with it. Having said that, I did a podcast in Jersey, and my team is really good at editing my clips. And I talked about how jacked up the education system was. And the education system in America was made by Rockefeller. And it was in order to create a nation of workers and to take all the thinking, the creativity, the drive out of you in order for you to be cool with the humdrum job of having a factory gig. I had people calling me. My accountant called me. He was like, yo, congratulations, Dave. I said, what'd I do now? He said, yo, you don't know? I'm like, can you just get to the punchline? He was like, yo, Master P posted your joint. I said, I said, you bullshit. Because, you know, your friends will play with you. And I'm like, and I go, oh. So a couple of months later, I get a hit from his people like, yo, would you like to be, you know, in this book? Would you like to write a chapter in this book? And I was like, yeah, sure enough. Because sometimes you can have the best message and you're not quite yet the messenger. Right. So if you happen to associate yourself with a bigger messenger, then your message becomes bigger. Yeah. And for me, I'm going to reach my people at all costs. I don't care what the platform is. I don't care who it is. I'm going to show up. And so being around P has been life-changing because he looks at things a completely different way. You know, and when I ask him questions, and the rare opportunities I get to ask him questions because the man is very busy, right. You know, I try to make those questions count. And, you know, I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about how his mind works in business. And there's certain things that he's literally changed my stance on just by me asking the right questions.
Anything that stands out that you can share?
There's two things. The first thing I asked him was, I know what's happening with, you know, I don't know if you know about what happened with him and like Walmart and other stores, right? They just put his stuff in the back. It's sitting on pallets. They're not putting it out. They're telling people it's sold out, so on and so forth. That's discrimination. I am such an entrepreneur. I'm a do-it-yourself guy. Like if there's a scale between Bill Gates and Dame Dash, I probably lean a little too hard into the Dame Dash side of the coin. But Master P was like, because I said to him, I said, P, you're Master P. Your phone is got to have $2, $3, $4 billion worth of connects and relationships in it. Why not just start your own Walmart? Like, what you need them for? And he sat back. He was like, all right, listen, you're right, but all these big corporations know it would take me 20 years to get their level of traction. And that's me moving fast, right? That's one. So what they're doing isn't right, so we're going to handle that the way we're going to handle that. Number two, most people, if we're being honest, and he didn't name any names, but what he said was most people are scared. Just because I got you on the phone, and I'm paraphrasing at this point, just because I got you on the phone doesn't necessarily mean you're going to answer the call when it comes to these types of things. Because people don't want to shake up things. People want to keep their status quo and keep their little things where it is. You know, so that to me was huge. The other thing, as an entrepreneur, especially at a certain level now, I have a hard time understanding how certain people, it just seems like everything they do hits. And so I said, P, I remember I was DJing in like Fayetteville, North Carolina, and then I saw you on the South Park collaboration. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you remember that. Kenny's dead. We got to ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. And I was like, I'm like, how do you know what to say yes to? And he smiled at me. He was like, you don't know how many things I've said no to. You know, and that's the thing. A lot of times it's not even about saying yes. It's about saying no to the wrong things and saying yes to the things where there's opportunity. And that's like really poignant when you think about how we operate, because we want the Grand Slam home run today. We want to plant the seed and then pick the fruit this afternoon. We don't have any patience for the process. And there's a lot of stuff that we'll say yes to that doesn't mean us any good. And so, like, those are the two things that have really stuck out to me. But yeah, I was like, yo, man, hell, soon just beat them at their own game. And then I started to think about the infrastructure, the logistics, the amount of money, all that other stuff. And plus, it's just wrong. And I'm happy that he's willing to stand up for black entrepreneurs in such a way, because shelf space is a rare commodity. Oh, yeah. And so it's, when somebody knows more than I do, I ain't the one doing all this talking. You understand? So I'm a student as much as I am a teacher, you know, and you need that. You need mentors. And I got coaches and mentors in this, that, and the third. But to be able to share space with him, it has been, you know, definitely life affirming, and I'm definitely going to say life changing, because it's better than I thought it was going to be. You know how you hear people and they say, if I just get with Master P, it's going to be that. Better. Better. And I ain't talking money. Yeah. I'm talking about the wealth of experience, learning from mistakes, understanding how things go, and just being able to observe somebody do something whose trajectory you've watched. You know, because listen, I started in music and entertainment. I know we're gonna get there, but you know, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? I'm retired from the game. Yeah. You know, this is my game now. You know, and to watch somebody make those pivots. First time I ever met him, backstage in the radio room at the Grammys. And I said, you don't know how excited I am to meet you. He said, why? I said, it's not for the reason you think.
I don't want a deal.
I said, listen, I don't rap no more. He said, no more? I said, yeah. I said, it's one of the things I love about you. He said, what? I'm like, you're not rapping. You got your son, you got your daughter, you know, you focusing on your family, you're doing all these entrepreneurial things. And even then, this is way before I retired. I was probably 2 years before I retired from, you know, the industry. I said, it makes me realize that there's something more. You know what I'm saying? Like, anybody can rap. It's a bunch of rappers, but not everybody can do this business thing. And he was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But if you had told me then that I'd be here with him now, I'd have been like, okay, bro.
Right.
All right.
Well, I'm just glad to hear he gave you a better answer than Kanye gave Sway, because you basically asked the same question just in a different way.
How, Sway?
Exactly.
You ain't been doing the education.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You know, Sway was just like, yo, I'm just asking. Yo,
I mean, I have on a smaller scale. Why can't you just do it yourself? But
so,
you know, in Kanye's defense, he did come back and admit that Sway did in fact have the answers.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he doubled back, so I was happy to see that.
Yeah.
But no, that's dope. So many things in just that one response. Let's talk about the music and entertainment.
Sure.
Where you got your start at and where that the precursor was to what you're doing now.
Wow. I started in radio at 9 years old.
Explain that.
Everybody says that, but y'all don't bat an eye at the Olsen twins. Y'all don't bat an eye at Emmanuel Lewis. You don't bat an eye at Gary Coleman. You know, like, y'all ain't bat an eye at B2K, but you know, Dave Anderson at 9 years old being okay, yeah, it's a big deal. I'm not gonna act like it's not. You know, but it's so commonplace now. To me, I didn't really think anything of it. I wasn't trying to be no trendsetter or no record breaker or nothing like that. I called into a radio show. Curly Neal from the Harlem Globetrotters was on the show. I remember the trick he hadn't done in like 6 years. He was like, how old are you? I said 9. He was like, so you were 3 years old when you started? I was like, yeah. I was like, my dad took me and my brother to see the Harlem Globetrotters. And I was excited because I just saw y'all on Scooby-Doo. And I was like, I want to see Curly Neal. And so he says, y'all need to hire that kid. And I ain't think nothing. I just funny. You're cute. I get you're a cute, precocious kid a lot. You know, when I was a youngster, And so 2 days later, and I was grounded. I wasn't even supposed to be on the phone. I was on punishment. So my mom gets the call. She like, hello? Yeah, no, this is Dave Anderson's mom. You want what? Sign what? On the radio. Called in. Well, that sounds wonderful. I'll call you back. So after the swelling in my ass went down, you know, I worked at a show called Kids Corner. Kids Corner led to a show called Candid Kids Club, which was on CBS Saturday mornings. You know, nationally syndicated show, which was dope. And then my mom saw a article in the paper, or she heard it on the radio station in Philly, that Teddy Pendergrass was looking for singers. And she was like, well, you can sing. Go sing for Teddy. I was like, Teddy Pendergrass don't want my roly-poly Coke bottle glass. Like, I'm not the cool. Like, I ain't Boys to Men. Like, I ain't going. Nah. And yeah, so next thing you know, I'm off with Teddy Pendergrass and, you know, doing everything. Like, I'm the youngest person to re-record The Twist with Chubby Checker. I sang backgrounds for Gerald and Sean Levert. Like, there were so many other things that came from that. City High came from Teddy Pendergrass, believe it or not. Rob Parlow, shout out to my man Robbie. I ain't seen Robbie in a minute, but Robbie Parlow came from there. Reese came from there. Like, there was a few of us that really made a run at it. And, you know, when that folded, I went to college, and then I started saying, you know what, I'm done doing the kid stuff. I'm a grown man now. You know, you turn 18, you start smelling yourself. Yeah. And so I went to Radio 1. And, you know, Radio 1, I was an intern, and then 6 months later, I was the associate producer of the morning show. And so I started working. I make music, all that kind of good stuff. And I've lived in 19 states, traveling up and down the dial. I'm one of the founding members of the largest DJ organization in the world, the Core DJs. Shout out to T. Neal. And I remember when Tony started the Core DJs, everybody's like, well, why are you gonna do that? It's already technicians, it's Big Dog, Pit Bulls. It's like, where they at though? Core's still here. Yeah. The Core is still here, and we still strong. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Summit is next month here in Atlanta.
Sure is. Yeah, I'm retired. I might go because I still get the emails. I might just pop up. Like, but I've been trying to stay home whenever I can because I'm on the road a lot, speaking engagements, you know, interview, stuff like that. You know, I got a family now. I can't. But boy, back in them days, them retreats, woo!
You should. I mean, if you can, if it makes sense, I understand.
Sure.
I definitely understand the family part, but
sure.
It is, I think, because I already registered, so it's like the 23rd through the 26th of November, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. I'm sure. I didn't know that part.
Yeah. It was me, Tony Neal, Cristal Bublin, Big Tigger. Trying to think because I know there's 2 others, but it was like 6 of us. Wow. Yeah, and then a lot of them technicians came over to the Core. A lot of them Big Dog Pit Bulls came over to the Core. Sometimes that happens, man. You know what I mean? You look at groups and whatnot. They break up, whatever. Primes come into the Temptations. The Coasters break up. One of them becomes a Temptation. Like, it's just what it is. But we're the last group standing. And I say we because I'm never not going to be a Core DJ.
Yeah.
You know
Once
what I'm saying?
you in, I feel that.
Yeah, no.
I dig that. So you were saying you're a family man now. Mm-hmm. How many kids?
2. And they both think they're growing than me. 25 and 9.
Sure, they may be. You know,
listen,
those are precocious ages. So
listen, my youngest daughter, I think she's going to be the one to take over the business when I pass. I had group coaching calls, and so every once in a while she'd come in the office, and one day she come in the office, she's like, Daddy, what you doing? And I would tell her, because she was a little bugger, like 4 or 5 years old. I said, I'm talking to the people. That would keep it simple for her. And she was like, oh. She was like, you talking to your people? I said, yeah. She jumps into the office, hops on my lap. She said, no, Daddy, I got this. These are my people. She says, hi, I'm Devlin Anderson. I'm the next business bully. So what do we got? And I was like, oh. It's weird when you see a piece of you do you. It's like, you know, but my kids are great, man. They're wonderful. They have a beautiful, wonderful mother. And she works hard. Like Dev, we found out she's been diagnosed with autism, you know, because she's like brilliant, super smart. You know, but you got those little things, and so we're learning how to navigate. Like, we've raised one child to adulthood, now we're navigating in a completely different experience, raising a child on the autism spectrum. So we homeschool her. Okay. You know, and I'm blessed that I'm in a position to be able to have my wife homeschool our baby, because a lot of people can't afford it. You know, and I hope that's one of those things that changes soon, because people, especially our people, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it's a good idea in one breath to say that you're oppressed by the man, but then have the man's government indoctrinate your children.
No, I'm not gonna argue with that at all, because I definitely
Because
agree.
you're either oppressed or you are sending your children to learn from your oppressor.
Right.
I don't understand how that works out, but I mean, I get it. You got to do what you got to do. I'm not judging, but
It's a lot for our people, especially actually new and older parents who've done it before.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a part of that indoctrinated system,
Sure.
how are you going to find the time to say, I'm going to break away? You know what I mean? Like, what was it for you guys that said, no, we're not doing this?
she had a horrible experience with her first grade teacher, who we thought was going to be phenomenal, because her kindergarten teacher, who was wonderful, she was patient, she was kind, she was like, she loved on my child. Like, I don't know if you have children.
I have one daughter, 22.
22. You know how like your kids are born in this world and they have this light inside of them, and after a while society just chips away at it. I'm not going to have a little black girl with my bloodline walking around getting their light diminished because somebody's having a bad day and has absolutely no business, I don't care what your teaching certificate says, teaching young children. And she was mean, and she wasn't nice, and she wasn't patient, and we didn't know. We didn't find out. Like, we just got the official diagnosis this year, and we went like all over Center for Autism, this stuff, like all the tests. So we didn't know. So if you'd already come into a school situation with children who are first graders, and kids are rambunctious,
Right.
if you don't have any patience for that, you're not going to be anywhere around my child. So I yanked her out. I said, we're going to figure this out, because no, immediately no. But again, I'm also the nephew, grandson, son, stepson, father of teachers. So my experience is a little bit different. I'm not saying just pull your kid out of school and go for what you know. You know, because you got to tell people, because, you know, I can see them, I can't do that. I got to work. And granted, my situation's a little different, but I thank God for that, you know. But yeah, there was no way I'm going to have her light diminished. I'm not going to have them tell me that she's a behavior problem when she processes information differently.
Right.
You know, so yeah, no, I will die to make sure my family is safe at all costs.
Yeah, I love that y'all found out when y'all did.
Yeah.
That's such a big difference.
Yeah, no, it makes all the difference, because she's thriving. She's doing 4th and 5th grade concurrently.
She's 9?
9.
Jeez.
No.
Just
listen.
right atmosphere, like you were
Yeah.
saying, right environment.
When you don't have to compete with 32 other people for attention, when you can take as much time or as little time as you need, when you can get breaks, because think about how school is set up. You're sitting there, you got to raise your hand in order to have a thought. I'm like, babe, what are you raising your hand for, honey? You're home.
Right.
That's your mother. I'm your daddy. Like, what are we doing? Well, can we go to the playground? Sure, we can. We'll start school at 1. Or, you know, we won't do school today. We'll unschool. We'll talk about leaf patterns. We'll look at, you know, cumulus and nimbus clouds. Like, there's a lesson in living.
Yeah.
And I think we miss out on that because of this indoctrination.
So what would your advice be to other parents? Because it sounds like you need to do a hot seat for parents, but we'll get to the hot seat stuff in a second.
Yeah.
You know, so, because when I tell people stuff, it's always, oh, you're not even with your mother, and this is when I used to give advice
Yeah.
on what I was doing with our daughter, but, you know, they're like, well, y'all not even together, and I was like, that's nothing to do with.
What does that matter? You made a child in love. The child is cared for.
Right.
You both love the child. You're both involved in the child's life.
Yes.
But again, see, people got to find something. And even with that, like, and I used to your point, I'm going to answer your question, but I got to take a quick little shortcut. I'm of, let's just say, above average intelligence, according to whatever you want to believe. I work for myself. I'm married to a black woman. I have black ass children. You know what I'm saying? I got locks. I love my people. I love my culture. And even with all of that, they still gonna find something to say.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I don't want you to take that to heart. But what I would say to parents is, your child will, no matter what you do as a parent, as much as we like to keep kids in a bubble, there's a world out here that's waiting to kick their ass. So with any child, but I can only speak to daughters because I don't have sons. I mentor a lot of young men, but I don't have any sons biologically. With being a father to a daughter, 2 of them, I tell people there's only two places your child's going to end up. It's either the pole or the couch. Your job is to aim for the couch. And the couch means they're in therapy behind whatever you fell short on doing for them. But I'd rather you be on the couch than be on that pole. And as long as I got breath in my lungs and long after I'm dead, you will not have to be on the pole. You know, the other thing is, what works for you is going to work for you. Being a parent is like playing spades. You got to sit down and make up your own rules. You got to figure out how you going to play this game and what adjustments you need to make. You know, the other part of that is, if one of you can get free, or you can amass enough money to bring somebody in to tutor your child, there's nothing wrong. Most states, if I'm not mistaken, don't have an issue with you homeschooling. Like, our curriculum is approved by the School District of Philadelphia, where we live. So it's worth it, because that light is now bright as it's ever been in my child. And I will tell you, there's nothing I wouldn't pay for that. You got no problem finding money for a vacation. You got no problem finding money to go to this particular party, not a Diddy party, not no more. But you find money to do the most frivolous shit. This is your child. This is your blood. This is your legacy. Find the money. If you're not happy with the school situation your child's in, make a move. That's what I tell anybody about damn near anything. Make a move. You don't like something, do something about it.
Yeah.
You know?
It kind of reminds me of what you were saying earlier about domination, which I wanted to talk about as well. It's such a powerful word. Actually, it's more than a word. It's a mindset.
Yeah.
Why is it so key for entrepreneurs to move like that?
Okay, so let's say you're a clothing designer, right? And let's say you've got a clothing brand. You're just setting yourself up to get your ass kicked, because you got to deal with Polo. You got to deal with all of these different brands. You got to, even if you're just dealing with Fashion Nova, all the fashions, right? Not only are you competing with them, but you're also competing with Walmart. You're competing with Target. You're competing with Big Lots. You're competing with absolutely everybody with an Etsy store and a t-shirt press. So how are you going to dominate your corner of a multi-billion-dollar annual industry? You've got to find a way to go above and beyond. You've got to overserve your customer base. You've got to find out what they want. We get to this thing in entrepreneurship where I call it the entrepreneur ego, where we think that, oh, okay, I know what they want, so I'm going to just give it to them. And then when it doesn't sell, you're like, well, I knew they wanted this. Why ain't it sell? Because you never asked. You just assumed. And we all know what assumptions get us. Yep. So for me, domination means that you're a cut above. Right? It doesn't mean that you're the only cut above. Tesla exists in a world where Maybach is. You know, for some people it's an Escalade. Whatever your particular, all of these quote unquote cars that people want to have for whatever reason, they all coexist. You can dominate in your lane, and your lane can be the same as somebody else's lane. Y'all could still be running parallel, and that's okay. I'm not saying you need to be the only one, but you need to be in the conversation. There's an argument to be made whether Nas is the greatest, whether Jay-Z is the greatest, whether it's Big, Tupac, Big L, Big Pun. But notice they're all in the conversation. Is Petey Pablo in that conversation?
Not last time I checked.
That be in the conversation. What are you doing or not doing to make sure that you're meeting your customers' needs and standing out in a culture where everything is being bombarded at your customer base, and attention is the most important asset you have. You got to find a way to stand out, and then once you stand out, you got to hit them in the head with value. You got to hit them in the head with something different. You got to make it so dynamic and so exciting that they want to be a part of it, and they want to feel like they have some ownership in it. We don't do that, and that applies to damn near every business. Every business that's successful, people feel they have an ownership in it. Even Target. Hey, I'm going on a Target run. Like, if you think about it, this is the most brilliant shit I've ever seen in my life. Target has gotten us to a place where we're working for Target and we don't even realize we're working for Target. Yeah. We got the Target app, we're clipping coupons on that bad boy. We get our clothes, we get our groceries, we get our knickknacks, we get our electronics. I get my cleaning products from there. And you know what I do after that? I go and then I act like I am a person that's wearing really uncomfortable cotton Dockers and an ill-fitted red polo shirt, and I start checking out my own shit. Wait, what? Bro, no.
You gotta
But
bring this up.
yeah, no. Like I get mad if I don't find somebody to ring my stuff up. Like,
Target, even with the coupons, is already still not a coupon deal.
it really ain't. Because listen, I knew someone once who worked at Target, and on her first day of orientation, the supervisor says, "Do you know the difference between us and Walmart?" She said, "No." She said, "Well, the difference between us and Walmart is you're not going to see our clothes thrown all over the floor. There's no people of Target." I was like, "Ooh." I'm like, they like the Bloods and Crips. Notice everything is always red versus blue.
Yeah. On purpose and done with intention. That's it. But just that lexicon alone, and we could get off of Target, but just saying I'm going on a Target run.
Right.
It's like saying I'm going to spend money.
Yes,
you know what I
exactly
mean?
what
And
it
I'm
is.
comfortable with doing it.
Yeah.
That's
Listen,
crazy.
I do my best not to. I do my best not to go out with my wife to Target. Simply because you could be going in there just to go to the Starbucks inside the Target. You ain't coming out of there for less than $200.
That's a fact.
And I mean, no, $200 is not a lot of money, but it's a lot of money. When you're just going in there for a latte.
You gotta go in there and stop them. That's where I go, because I know if I don't go.
Tell me your ways, Yoda. How you stop the wife? Please educate me. This is your interview now. Houseway.
Yo, like you said, we'll go in. I like to eat the popcorn. First thing I do, all right, I'm gonna go to the store, get the popcorn. She goes to whatever section she says she's going in. Boom, I get the popcorn, walk there. Now it's like, all right, we start walking to the register. That's how they start seeing other shit while we're walking to the register. And once she starts going, I'll be like, wait a minute. Oh, yo, we gotta go somewhere. Oh, let's go this. I just divert them.
Misdirection?
Because I'm always doing something, so it's like, yo, I'm on a time.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
If I don't go in there with you, I'll be in the car for an hour.
See, yeah, I feel like my wife is smarter than me because she be like, "Yo, you got anything to do that?" I'm like, "That's a light day. I got a couple things." And you sure? Yeah, no. What you got planned? Oh, you just want to go. You just want to get something to go to IHOP and then just get a couple things and just be done. I'm not trying to be out all day. See, that's how she gets me. See, now I'm on to it. Which camera I'm looking? Which one is it? He done put me on. I don't know what time it is now. That's your game. You trying to make sure I ain't got nothing on the schedule, so I can't use that excuse. I'm always busy from here on out, babes. I'm busy. Hell, he was like, yeah, no. We ain't got time to be stopping because she be hitting me with the Columbo. Just one more thing. Like,
It's never just one more thing.
it's never. It's never.
I've never been married, and I know it's never just one thing.
Yet another man in here who's smarter than me.
Is it?
I'm kidding.
Her free time to do whatever she wants to do is when I'm getting the popcorn. So that's time.
That's your time to go
Do whatever you.
while she's racking up a $200 Target.
Once I get back to her, boom, we on the rules. Whatever you're supposed to get, and then we go into the register.
Right.
Whew. It just sounds expensive listening to both of y'all. It is.
Listen, family's expensive. My daughter cost me $186,383.63 in tuition, room, board, and fees for Howard University out of state. So, yeah, cash. Damn. Yeah, hard. Yeah, do you know what I could have done? I could have bought a house. I mean, put a down payment on a nice
Down
one.
payment now in Philly.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to. No, I was going to move back to the South like I got some sense.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because even now. But like I said, with so much of a changing dynamic, changing landscape that we've been dealing with now, just in the last 20 years.
Sure.
Not just from the schools that our kids want to go to and where our dollars don't go as far as they need to.
Right.
How? Because I've seen pieces of you in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Breaking down to people like, yo, you need to do this, this, and this, because what you're doing right now is not going to get you where you need to go.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So it's like you're already doing the foot on neck thing. That's why I always respect people who actually carry out the hot seat stuff.
Yeah.
Like David Shands, he's another
Yeah.
one.
Shout out to
has a hot-
Shands.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's people like that when y'all can really hold people to the fire in that small amount of time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And really change their trajectory on what they're doing.
Certainly.
Like, when did you recognize, like, yo, I need to do this?
I recognized it, but I didn't act on it right away. When I was still in radio, they would send me out with the salespeople to help them close deals. And I'm like, I don't even like sales. The idea of sales to me was, I want you to just pay me my money. I had a worker's mindset. Y'all got to forgive me. old Dave Anderson. I killed that dude. But I started to realize that most salespeople weren't creative, and most human beings just aren't creative. They just want to do the one thing they want to do, and they don't realize that you still have to market it. It doesn't matter that it's the best. If you're serving it up on, like, Wolfgang Puck once made sandwiches for me, right? I'm in LA, and he's like, oh, you know, because I'm doing an interview. He was like, yo, Justin Timberlake likes these sandwiches. This is what I made Jay-Z and Beyonce. So Spago, he's making all this stuff. And I was just thinking to myself, this food is so dope. But then my brain starts to go, nobody would eat this food if you served it on a dirty, used trash can lid. But that's what we do. We put our beautiful businesses in presentations that are hot garbage. And we don't understand why it's not working. And every time I do these hot seats with folks, and I've been doing hot seats, 2015.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been at it for a very, very long time. The hot seat is not an original concept. Tony Robbins had done it. Zig has done it. Like, a lot of people have done hot seats. It's a sales and marketing technique.
Right.
But the thing of it is, I started to realize that people don't want to do the things that will make them successful because those things aren't sexy, those things aren't comfortable, those things are boring. You can't post up, hey man, you know what, I just wrote this dope five-day email sequence that's just going to revolutionize, you know, these curtain rod hangers I'm selling. Like, the unsexy stuff is where you make the money, right? The other part of that is people just have been sold a bill of goods of utter BS when it comes to what actually it takes to be successful. It's like, oh, you just start the business because I'm a substitute teacher, and now all of a sudden, you know, I'm telling everybody how to be an entrepreneur. Whoa, homeboy. That's not how I don't give a damn how many silk pajamas you have. Right. It ain't going. I don't care how many. Listen, I don't care how many of these hoe guns you got. I didn't use the hoe gun or two in my day. I'm not gonna lie to you, but never as an entrepreneur. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter how many of these you have. There's still things that have to be done. And in order for you to get to the fun, you got to handle the fundamentals. Right. And most people fail on the fundamentals. If you watch my hot seats, it's very rarely the big shit. It's always the small stuff. It's always well, how often are you reaching out to your email? Well, once a month. And then I hit them with, well, how often do you wash your ass? And they're like, what does that have to do with it? No. Answer the question. How often do you wash your ass? Every day, twice a day. So you wash your ass twice a day. Why? Didn't you wash once? Wasn't that enough? Well, if you don't keep washing your ass, you're going to stink. Well, if you don't stay top of their mind, they're going to find somebody who's paying them attention. Well, I don't want to bother people. McDonald's has, in a 24-hour period, somewhere about 32,000 ads someplace. Amazon is now the biggest advertiser because they're advertising something, whether it's Prime, whether it's Lord of the Rings, whether it's Citadel, whatever they got. You know, the fact that they acquired MGM, they're advertising something. Hundreds of thousands of ads per day, all throughout the world. But you, with your little Etsy shop having ass, and I'm not shitting on people who have Etsy shops, but I'm trying to give you a scale, are afraid that you're going to burn out your audience and bother them. See, everybody, all these gurus, they start talking about, you got to attract the right people, you got to attract the right people, you got to attract the right... Sure. When you get married, you've attracted the right person. You know what else that means? That you repelled 4.3 million other women. I'm sorry, 4.3 billion other women. If you're going to attract, you got to spend as much time at repelling. I don't want people who don't want to be my client, because I come with accountability. I come with work. I'm not selling sexy shit. I'm not sitting down with Shaq. I'm not going to put up a big ass check, you know, from Diddy. No Diddy. In order to impress you. Right. I'm going to impress upon you the virtues of fundamentals. We're going to build a foundation, because I know people right now who are extremely talented, much more talented than I am, and I can say that. Like, no, I have no problem giving it up to you. You're extremely talented. The problem is you're building the Taj Mahal on quicksand, so it's just going to come crashing down. Right. And that's what we miss. And so when I do those hot seats, it's about really making you face what you've been doing. And that's why it's not working. Because if it was working, why are you jumping the hot seat? You got the answers. You came to me. See, that's the thing. Bro, you watch horror movies?
Rarely.
You know what my favorite horror movie character is?
Who's that?
Candyman.
Why's that?
Because unlike Freddy Krueger, unlike Michael Myers, unlike Jason Voorhees, unlike Chucky, Candyman don't show up until you put his name in your mouth repeatedly. When you come for me, you're going to be my victim. That's it. And that's what it is. I don't go out looking for you to be my victim. You volunteered. So now you're going to get this work. And this work comes with, I don't care what your friends tell you. I don't care what your man say. I don't care what your homeboys at the barbershop say. If I'm telling you it's trash, and we need to make some changes. But the difference is I'm not just telling you it's trash, I'm telling you how to make it into treasure. That's the other part, because the Negroes in the comments go, well, what's the solution? You know, the solution is doing the things you're not doing. The solution you're looking for is always on the other side of the tedious things that you don't want to do. I'm not a big believer in if you work hard, you'll make it, because I know plenty of hardworking broke people. But I am really big on making sure you're developing a system that reaches out to the people who need what it is that you have to have. And are you solving a problem with the product or service that you have to present in the marketplace? If not, you're doing it for ego.
That's a bar. That's a deeper level to it too. What are you feeding with that ego?
You're feeding your need to be important. You're feeding the whole, look at me, give me some likes, because that's hitting my dopamine receptors, because I don't have the balls to do cocaine, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get my high off of you telling me I'm great when I'm really mediocre at best, because I won't go all the way in. I'll just dip my toe in it. I'll mess with it. I'm gonna treat it like a side hustle and not my main thing, and that's where it gets ugly. That's where that masterclass and fail starts happening. So yeah, no, like, to me, your ego will always be your undoing. I don't think I'm the best because I'm not dead yet. You know, I'll be the best when I'm gone. You know what I mean? Picasso couldn't sell nothing when he was alive. Now, different story. You think all these white people was talking about Bob Marley when Bob Marley was alive? Not like they do now. Boy, they use Bob Marley as a reason to smoke all the weed, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. A lot of times people don't appreciate people when they're here. And like, I've had to come to terms with the fact that, you know, I'm not really doing this for likes or shares or even recognition. You know, I'm not Roman Reigns. I'm not like, acknowledge me. It would be nice if you did. Right. But I'm not. I'm done looking for that. I'm at a point at almost 50 years old where I don't believe my applause that much, and I damn sure don't believe my boos that much, which allows me to have a certain level of objectivity. Not perfect, but a certain level of it.
I was actually going to ask that. How do you believe anybody, what anyone says to you when they're paying you compliments? Oh, this is great. This is groundbreaking. You changed my life. And then they may have some success, but they still didn't get to where you know they could have gotten to. Like, how do you take it when you meet so many people like that? Because I know they tell you on a daily, regular basis.
Sure.
You know?
Listen, I've worked with people who, you know, have wound up becoming New York Times bestselling authors, who have had hit shows, whatever the case may be. I've had to learn, there's a movie called Talk to Me with Chiwetel Ejiofor and Don Cheadle.
Great movie.
And it talks about Dewey Hughes. Everybody focuses on Kathy Hughes, but people don't realize that Dewey Hughes was a beast. Yeah. Dewey Hughes' Achilles heel used to be my Achilles heel, and I didn't realize it until I watched that movie. You can't want something for somebody more than they want it for themselves. I can have a vision for you. Yo, you mind passing me that bottle, because I'm about to go in. Appreciate you. My Uncle Ozzy, God rest his soul, will be proud of me right now.
What, drinking it straight?
Yeah. Pour one out for Uncle Ozzy, God rest his soul. But no, he really wanted to be that guy. He really wanted, you know, he wanted Petey Green to be that guy. He saw somebody who had raw talent, but he didn't have the desire to do that. He just wanted to eat watermelon and talk his trash and go about his day. He didn't want to be on with Johnny Carson. That wasn't his thing. I've had to come to terms with my vision, and this is in no way saying that I am the end-all be-all to anything. But a lot of times, and I've got thousands of hot seat clips that'll prove that the vision I have for people is usually bigger than the vision they have for themselves. right? It's one of the reasons I got into coaching, because you can't see the picture clearly when you're in the frame. And when I saw that movie, I realized that you can want it for somebody, but if they don't want it for themselves, there's nothing they can do. I worked with an athlete one time who I thought was brilliant, and I thought didn't really get his just due when he was an active athlete. Man has since retired. And you know, I wanted to do all these things that he said he wanted to do, because I've learned over time that you shouldn't do more than what people say they want to do. But when you give me something that you want to do, I'm going to find a way to make it happen. Well, he did. And I went and got him a $100,000 deal for a tour to do what it was that he wanted to do. And I think it spooked him, because nobody had ever done that. And he kind of went like, oh. See? Everybody ain't ready for prime time. It's okay, but I'm like, hey, listen, if that's what if all he wants to do are the things that he's doing that makes him happy, even though I think it's bush league for somebody of his talents, that's not my monkey. It's not my circus. I'm cool if you're cool. I want what you want. If you're happy only making $200,000 a year, God bless you. If you're happy making $60,000 a year, God bless you. You know, I can see how I can get you to 250. I can see how I can get you to $1 million. But what does it matter if it's not going to bring you joy? Right. It's not about me. It's about I did my job for you. You know. And then there's the other side of that. There's people who will never listen no matter what you tell them. Right. You know. So I've gotten myself to a point where, did I do what I was supposed to do? The answer is yes. I'm good. And the answer is almost always yes. Because I like to sleep well at night.
Yeah, that's what matters most. What's the point of doing all this work if you can't do that? What are your thoughts on, let me frame this the right way.
Take your time.
I talk to a lot of younger people,
Mm-hmm.
age range 24 to 35.
Sure.
One of the biggest things that they tell me and ask me questions about, from DJing to business to understanding themselves,
Mm-hmm.
they all say they deal with some level of imposter syndrome.
Certainly.
Did you ever have to deal with that?
I still do.
Really?
Do you know, like, I'll be out someplace, right? Like, I'll never forget, I was at a Walmart just grabbing some knickknacks, me and the family, and this guy comes running up, like, yo, you Dave Anderson? So automatically, my Kempo and my Krav Maga kick in. I'm like,
What's up?
you know what I mean? So I got my Arthur fist locked and cocked on the side, and I'm like, yeah, family firmly behind me. Yeah. He was like, man, I just wanted to give you a hug and shake your hand, man. You changed my life. I watched all your videos. I got all your books, man. Like, thank you, man. Like, for me, I'm happy that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Do you know how many billions of people throughout the history of the world don't listen to that call that God puts on their heart? And I'm not trying to I'm not trying to turn into Jamal Bryant on nobody.
No, you should go for it. Shoot.
You know, but there's something inside of you that is telling you that you don't need to be here. You need to be something. You need to be doing this thing. And what I found in my life is that God is going to find a way to do what he needs to do through you or around you, right? He's going to do it with or without you. Even if you look in Exodus, Joshua wasn't supposed to take the Hebrews to the promised land. Moses was. Moses was disobedient. So he died on the side of the mountain. He saw the promised land, but he didn't enter. So at that point, Joshua stepped up, because guess what? God's will is going to be done with or without you. So for me, I listen to that voice at all costs, because when I got to the point where I was like, I'm going to retire, I was like, why would I couldn't wrap my mind around, but I just got tired. I got tired of, just doing, interviews with celebrities. I got tired of sitting in meetings talking about, which records we're adding and which record reps coming to town. We got to go to Roost Chris for the 1,000th, millionth, 11th time. I wanted something else. I didn't know what that something else was, but I knew, like, my run in entertainment was over. And what if I had stayed? Do you know how many people wouldn't have? And again, this isn't ego. This is just me talking from a strictly, analytical place. How many people would not have that push that I was supposed to give them? A lot of times we think our lives are for us. I'm not living this life for me. I'm living this life for y'all. I'm living this life for my children. I'm living this life for my last name. I'm living this life in order to impact this world so that it's better when I leave it than when I got here. And the only way to do that is to listen to that still small voice. It's like, yo, this ain't it. You shouldn't be here. It's time to go home. Yo, tell them that they're dope. Tell them that you appreciate them. Yo, call such and such you ain't talked to in 6 months and just tell them you love them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really obedient to that. But yeah, man.
Yeah. It was that discipline. Yeah, that's super strong.
Yeah, man.
H, what am I forgetting? Where we need to go?
Let's get into, because it's about to be the vote and shit.
All right, the voting shit.
Good time.
Here we go.
Okay. All right. Any particular angle you want to start with? Because I know it's gonna. Jeez.
We can go.
You know where I'd like to start?
Yeah.
The young lady, and forgive me forgetting her name. Trump's bestie.
Michaela Montgomery?
Yes.
Love Michaela.
Yes. I was watching parts of the interview that you guys did.
Yeah.
And I didn't get too far deep into it, but I noticed some things right away.
Sure.
When you guys first started, how quickly she put the focus on things that could actually help black people instead of saying, this is why y'all should agree with me and vote Republican or whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's out here versus what's not being presented. And I thought that was really interesting because it could have been very easy for her to be like, well, no, y'all just don't understand what you should be doing. You should be tired of voting for Democrats because they ain't done nothing for us, which may or may not be true.
Certainly.
But go ahead.
Everybody, I don't care where you are in the world, I don't care if you're in Atlanta or Sheboygan, everybody listens to the same radio station. It's called WIIFM. It plays 24/7 on your FM dial. What's in it for me? We live in a constitutional republic, which has a representative government. People are here to represent us because it's hard to listen to 330 million people to get them to agree on it. You can't get 4 people at a spades game to agree on something.
Right.
How you do that with 340 million people? You can't. So you have representatives who are elected by the people to do that. The problem with black people specifically, and when I say this, I'm not in any way negating my blackness because I'm black as shit. What I am saying to you is black people by and large vote one way almost all the time. And as a result of them voting one way almost all the time, there's a system of benign neglect and also a system of expectancy from one particular party. And then from the other party, it's like, yeah, we'll reach out to you, but you ain't really messing with us. So why am I going to waste a whole lot of time when I got all these other people on my roster who want to rock with me? So why not focus on what can be done based on these things that you actually care about? Do you want the government to tell you how many guns you can have?
No.
Do you want the government to tell you how to raise your babies?
Nope.
Do you want your government, you have a daughter,
Yes.
right? I've got 2. You feel comfortable if your daughter was still underage and was participating in sports and had to share a locker room with a biological man who just automatically woke up one day and said that he feels like a woman?
No.
Because that worked for Shania Twain, but wait, Shania Twain's an actual woman. Are you tired of taking your money that you spend taxes what did Chris Rock say? That you don't pay taxes, they take taxes. Are you tired of people just taking your money and giving it to Ukraine but not giving it to your people? You got a veteran in your family?
Yes.
Do you have any idea how jacked up the VA is?
I have a very good idea. Yeah. Not personally, but yeah, very close. Yeah.
When people think that they can lose you, they start getting some act right. People have taken us for granted to the point where you got former presidents coming around trying to chastise black men because we're not voting a particular way by and large. Allegedly.
That allegedly is kind of strong, but keep going. The reason why I said that, man, what up? Oh, the reason why I say that is because the way they're framing that was he wasn't talking to all black men, just the black men who were finding different reasons not to support Kamala, and it was really rooted in her. They didn't want a woman leader.
Okay. Here's where I am, right? I deal in facts. I don't deal in emotions. You'll very rarely hear me, unless I'm talking about my family, you'll very rarely, not ever, but rarely hear me say, well, I feel. Let's deal with facts. One day on Jimmy Kimmel, he pulled up an actual chart and said that Kamala Harris is the lowest polling vice president in modern recorded history. Jimmy Kimmel. We ain't talking about, somebody on Fox News. We talking about Jimmy effing Kimmel. He's liberal as hell. You had CNN say that Kamala Harris was the worst decision Joe Biden made. Am I lying?
No, but let me see, and I don't want to make it a...
No, I'm not, because this isn't just about because I got smoke for Trump too, but we're staying...
Okay, let's stay focused, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. My thing is, you appoint somebody in a position that they did not earn and nobody elected for, and you let them rock. And the other part of that is, you say in one breath that y'all really want this and you really want to make this happen, but history tells me something different. Because unlike most people, I actually donated to the original Harris campaign, the one before she dropped out. Do you know why she dropped out before Iowa?
No.
Because she didn't get enough donor money. So where was all the ski-wee and perm? Where was all the pearls and chucks? Where was the Divine Nine and where was the greens in the bathtub then? Where were all the black people who really wanted a black woman president? Where were y'all? Because y'all didn't show up for Kamala. But now that it's cool, now y'all want to show up. I call BS. Because when y'all really needed to show up for you, you didn't. The other part of that is, financially, are you happy with the way the economy is going?
Of course not.
Of course not. Well, she just said that she can't think of one thing she'd have done different than your current president.
Yeah, it's being a team player.
With 40 days left in the election, you got time to be a team player when the economy is trash, when the border has let over 10 million people? You got time to be a team player? Why are you going to play for a team like that they just put LeBron on the bench and they put your ass in? We're going to go with the team player argument? That's what we're doing?
That sounds like you just compared LeBron to Biden. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, to the Democratic Party, up until he had his ass whipped in that debate, he was LeBron. Because everybody, up until including your lying-ass vice president, said, oh, he's strong. He's running circles around everybody. Tell me when I'm telling lies. Please fact-check me on this. He was fine until y'all realized that y'all couldn't put him up there like some political weekend at Bernie's because Trump washed him. He washed him. The dude literally says, and I quote, I beat Medicare. And Trump says, I don't know what he said. I don't even think he know what he said. Biden got washed, bro. That's why the DNC put pressure on him, Nancy Pelosi and all them people, because also he told Complex it would take God himself to come down and tell me I'm dropping out of the race. Well, I guess God is Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, huh? So that's the thing. So what was Kamala great this whole time, or did y'all just decide she was great because the machine told you to? And was Biden in his right mind the whole time, and all of a sudden he just had a collapse? And I can tell you, as a son of somebody who suffered from Alzheimer's and dementia, it's not something that just boom starts. There's a cognitive decline. That's why it's called cognitive decline. We're going to live in a world where words mean things.
I wish. I really miss that.
Right? And that doesn't mean I'm pro-Trump, because I got a lot of bad things to say about Donald John Trump.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that, but to respond.
Sure.
As far as what you said about Biden's decline, yes. I was amongst many thinkers that saw this replacement or him stepping down coming years ago.
Yeah.
So saying, okay, they had to make a last minute decision to put Kamala up, I think they just enacted a plan that they already had in their pocket. And it just became on Front Street like, y'all need to do something.
I'll do you one better. Your current sitting president, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. of Delaware, said he was only going to do one term. He said it. Again, please fact check me. Maybe I'm making that up in the magic land of make-believe. Maybe I'm in an alternate universe. Maybe this is Earth 13. But on Earth 1, I remember distinctly this dude saying he was only going to do one term.
I mean,
But then it got good.
Words of power.
Listen, dog, you know, but that's my whole thing. Again, I'm with Killer Mike on this, and I ain't with Killer Mike on much, but I am with him on this. He was like, I'm not gonna sit up and argue about which master to serve. My whole thing is these folks are bought and paid for, and I suggest black folks start cutting the check. I don't care who it is. If Kamala said right now, Dave, I'm actually going to do something for black people, not that BS black men thing, which turns out. Oh no, but listen, I'm going to take you there. We can go wherever you want. I got plenty of time. Not that BS thing for black men, which isn't for black men, because her campaign has literally said it's for everybody. So that was a trick bag. That was a lie. If you said to me, I'm going to wipe out all y'all student loans and you're going to make good on that promise you told Al Sharpton when you stood in front of the National Action Network and said that you were going to give black people, specifically foundational black Americans, reparations, you'd have my vote. If you were going to give me, you know, anywhere between $10,000 and $30,000 to homeschool my baby and get rid of the U.S. Department of Education because it hasn't done anything for Americans, black or otherwise, ever. But do you know how much the annual operating budget of the U.S. Department of Education is? Anybody in this room know how much the annual operating budget of the U.S. Department of Education is? How many people here have children? The annual operating budget, everybody in here raised their hand, by the way, folks. The annual operating budget of the U.S. Department of Education is $90 billion, and somehow we still have social school segregation based upon where we live. So we have educational redlining happening on our tax dollars. And by the way, before you say, well, all the money the government has isn't coming from your taxes, you're absolutely right. But guess what? The American electorate makes up 80% of the tax dollars. So you have a failing U.S. Department of Education that produces 30th in reading comprehension on the world stage and 19th in mathematical computation skills. $90 billion a year? No. Give that money to us, the parents. We know how to spend that money. If you do any of that, and by the way, those student loans, you know, because they sold us on the bill of goods that, you know, being a welder ain't sexy. You know, being an architect ain't sexy. Being a mechanic ain't sexy. Being a painter ain't sexy. Being a contractor ain't sexy. So you got to go to school to get a job and then get a job to pay off school because we done gave you student loans. You're 17 and a half years old and we'll give you enough money to buy a house and a Porsche as long as you put it towards the tuition, which, by the way, all colleges are already paid for. Right. All colleges get subsidies. All colleges get all types of slush money. But we're going to put you in debt so that your debt to income ratio is shit. And by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but statistically, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics and that U.S. Department of Education, 27% of all people with a bachelor's degree are working in the field that they actually majored in. That means 73% ain't. Last I checked, ain't 27 failing on any test you could ever think of?
Oh, I love it.
Okay. If you are willing to do any of those things, I don't care if you're Trump, I don't care if you're Kamala, you got my vote. My vote is up for sale. I ain't loyal to nobody but anybody whose last name is Anderson. And anybody I'm contracted to be loyal to. Any of my clients, I'm loyal to you. Other than that, I'm your private dancer.
I mean, it's basically what we should have been doing anyway. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask about being that, you notice after the debate, they threw out, the Democrats is the one who threw out Trump wants to do the Project 2020.
Certainly.
But they keep saying the Republicans want to do it, but I never hear them talk. All I hear about is Democrats talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So where's that shit really coming from?
It's coming from the Democrats because they don't have anything to stand on. Because if you're paying attention to this thing that's Project 2025, have you read Project 2025?
Highlights.
Have you read
the stuff that they put?
The stuff that memes.
Right. No, not memes.
The highlights.
Yeah.
The highlights. I've read all 926 pages.
Jesus.
I've also read Agenda 47, and there's enough in Agenda 47 to nail Trump on, which is his actual agenda. By the way, we all agree that Trump's an asshole. Whether you like him or not, he's an asshole. We also agree that Trump ain't got no problem telling you what he's going to do and don't give a fuck what you think about it. So if Trump was really behind Project 2025 like that, why wouldn't he just do it? Why wouldn't he just say it? He said worst. Why this?
I think the difference is the controlling generational factor that's behind 2025. I think that's the big difference.
Well, here's the thing. Do you know who wrote Project 2025?
I can't remember his name.
It's a company called the Heritage Foundation. It's a Republican think tank or very, very hard right-leaning think tank. Do you know the founder of the Heritage Foundation has just endorsed a political candidate? By the way, it's Kamala Harris. Oh! I'm sorry, what?
Wow, yeah, that's
Oh, hi. Dave Anderson and his magical bag of facts here. Ta-da! So the thing of it is, every political think tank, whether it's the National Action Network led by Al Sharpton, whether it's the Rainbow Coalition from Jesse Jackson, every political think tank has the right to put forth an agenda. By the way, Dr. Claude Anderson and Ice Cube put forth an agenda called the Contract with Black America. And they asked Biden and Harris to meet with them. Biden and Harris said, nah, but we'll do a Zoom call after the election with D.L. Hughley and a bunch of other people. And well, I'm going to do a Zoom call when I got specific things I want to talk to you about when it comes to tangibles for my people. And then Trump said, oh, I like some of this. We're going to put it in the platinum plan. Well, Trump didn't do it. Trump didn't get elected, dumbass. Are we going to rewrite history or are we going to recite history? Everybody is allowed to put forth an agenda. It's not a law. Do you know how many laws get passed on the books that none of us Negroes pay attention to? But Project 2025 is coming. You need a red herring. You need something that says the sky is falling because people don't pay attention to what's actually being said, what's actually being read. Americans are the worst about that. That's why they put out headlines. Even when you look at movie reviews, right? I can go back to 1989. There was a movie with Warren Beatty called Dick Tracy. And the movie was trash. It was trash. It was trash 40 years ago. It's trash now. But you know why it was the #1 movie in America? Because when they made the commercials, it said great movie making. And it said with Warren Beatty and the amazing cast that they had, this had the auspices of great movie making. They cut all that other stuff out. Great movie making. That's what they do. They give you the headlines. They give you the Cliffs Notes. They give you the excerpts, the sections, the highlights. And that's what they run with. My whole thing is, I'm worried about the actual agenda, and I'm worried about what actually is going to happen. I also understand for the first time in our lifetime, not in American history, but in our lifetime, we have an apples to apples comparison of what our finances look like under one president and what our finances look like under the other administration for the very first time in our lifetime. How are your finances between 2017 and 2021 versus how they were between 2021 and 2024?
You know that's not fair.
It's not fair. It's a fact. I thought
fair fact or whatever, but it's not a fact.
Well, then give your opinion.
No.
No,
I'm
go ahead.
I'm about to.
Not fair.
Go ahead. Tell me how it's not fair.
COVID.
Yeah, like there's several levels.
COVID.
Yeah, the complete pandemic and halfway shutdown or 75%
Okay.
shutdown of the world is going to affect the kind of money that's raised and given and provided just for people to survive. So
Certainly.
it's not apples to apples.
It's also an economy you inherited. Like if you inherited an economy from Trump, then
Right.
yeah, it's apples to apples. But if you inherited an economy from Obama that was doing one thing, and then you got the COVID, and then you got this other shit, yeah, it's gonna kind of look kind of the same. Not to interrupt you.
No, you go ahead. I love this conversation because everybody loves that talking point. Obama said, well, he got my economy. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
So
You-
it's not an apples to apples. I mean, it's not apples to apples.
What I'm saying is there's one person who's already been president and there's somebody who's currently president or at least part of that administration. And by the way, the current president has said that the vice president was in on every decision. She was the last person out of the room. Everything she did, everything she had, every power that was available to him was available to her. That's what he said. That ain't what I said. So for that, it's apples to apples. The other part of that is COVID also affected the Trump presidency as well. Because from 2017 to 2019, we was rolling. 2020 was a mess. 2021 was a mess. But then by that same token, if we're going to go by that rule, because I want to make sure that I'm addressing what you just said because it's important and I want everybody to stick with it. What he said was, we can't, and I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me if I don't get the words absolutely right. Jack is kicking in. But what I gathered was you're saying, well, you know, people inherit economies, this, that, and the third. That's funny because they had no problem saying that Joe Biden created all these new jobs when the jobs just came back because COVID had affected people's ability to work because people couldn't be around people.
It goes back to the snapshot thing you were saying again, because we could also say the same thing about Bush's economy. Like there's plenty of times people.
Certainly, but I don't need to go back 24 years when all we're dealing with is what's happening right here and right now.
It's a snapshot thing, like you had mentioned. We can do that with several different presidents.
Right, but what I'm saying is COVID's argument works both ways. Because if you're going to talk about COVID, you also have to talk about the fact that jobs were lost, not because Trump was a quote-unquote bad president, because economically, shit was better. You also have to look at the fact that COVID shut things down. So if it shut it down in 2020, which was the last year of his presidency, and then when we started to open the world back up, because 75% of the world was still shut down, when we open the world back up, those jobs aren't new jobs. Those are jobs that were already there that are coming back. So you then can't claim those jobs like you created them.
Correct.
That's it. That's it, and that's all.
I agree with you, because going back to the part about when it opened back up, then you got to discuss how it was handled. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
absolutely. But by that same token, again, I'm a person that deals in facts and not in feelings. Because the same people who are saying, oh, well, you know, we fixed COVID and we did this, we did that, they were the same people that were going on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News saying, well, if Trump's in office and we get that vaccine, we're not going to use it. Well, what vaccine did you use then? What vaccine were you telling everybody to use then? What methods were you doing that were different than what was there? Because Fauci was there the whole damn time.
Oh, when I say how he...
No, I'm just talking. No, not you specifically. I'm talking to the global audience, not particularly you, bro. I don't. No.
That's what I'm going to cut. I hate
Yeah.
to do this when I pop in the podcast.
You could have just walked in and set the waters down. You decided to jump in the water.
No, when I always look at it from this perspective, right?
Sure.
Also, how Buddy handled the situation, because I always tell people, if you pay attention to how Trump was even framing this shit, he was bringing y'all back to work. That's why I hate when people say he gave us a check. Every time he came on TV, he said we'd be back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks means a paycheck. He was coming back in 2 weeks.
Because that's what he was being told. Like, people don't understand. Presidents only go by what people are telling them. You count on the experts. I own several businesses, and if one of my businesses, like I have a photography business in Fort Lauderdale, and I got one in North Carolina. If my partners in that business are telling me that these things are happening, and I'm like, okay, we got this many shoots, this is happening, this and third. I'm like, yo, so listen, the shoot that we just did, those pictures are coming back in 3 weeks, because that's what I was told. Well, damn, Dave, you told me 3 weeks. It's been 5. Shit, my bad.
Yeah. And it goes back again to the people you're around. Like, that's another reason why I don't trust the dude. You know what I'm saying? Not only the people you're around, it's the down ticket. The people who also trust you from local departments in these states.
Yeah.
When you mentioned Cuba, I remember Cuba and them walking in there talking about the charter schools.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, well, that can't happen based on the people who's voting for him on the down ticket.
Right.
As you see now, DEI, we don't even want to teach about this. We don't want to teach about that. We're not giving money for you even funding that.
Yeah.
That was a photo op, and he even peeped it coming out. It wasn't even really a real conversation to have, because the person you having it with, who's also in his ear?
Right.
Who's also the people down the ticket?
Right.
Them the people making bigger decisions.
Everybody has to, and this is the thing that people have to understand with us specifically as a people, not all of us, but specifically because I've been black longer than I've been anything else. You know what I mean? I've been black for damn near 5 decades now. I think I'm gonna stick with it, unlike some people. But for me, we're Umar. We must stay focused, my brothers. No, for me, it's a situation where we have to understand that no matter who's in there, somebody's going to lose something. You're not going to get 100% of what you want. I am married. I guarantee you my wife didn't get 100% of what she wanted. Yeah, I mean, I ain't even going to put it on me. I know she didn't get 100% of what she wanted. But in other areas, she's gotten stuff that she couldn't even fathom. You know, you're going to have to take that, because you're dealing with people who have all of a bunch of different agendas. My problem specifically is we only get involved politically every 4 years.
On this level.
Let me put it to you this way. Who's your alderman?
Right there right now, Palmer.
Palmer.
Yeah.
You are 1 of 1%.
I believe it.
Yeah, you speaking right now, because you know me. My background is get out the vote. My background is doing that. I literally remember saying, this is like 2014, whatever Hillary Clinton was running.
Yeah, 16.
I legitimately remember sitting outside the Oakland City train station. Conversation with 2 black people, right? Black dude and his baby mama. I'm talking to the black dude about why you need to, get in the voting. I'm telling him personally.
Yeah.
Local level is more important. You
Yes.
your wife got upset at your job and said, I need to talk to the boss. I need to talk to the president. I need to talk to the manager, because the manager is local.
Right.
I was explaining that to him situation. He kept telling me, nah. Now his baby mother said, listen to me. Grab the form and said, I want to fill out, I want to register to vote. He stayed telling me why he don't have to, why she is registering. I'll never forget that moment. And sometimes we got to start arguing shit.
Yep.
And realizing that, this is really happening. And in that moment, I started seeing again what we see now.
Right.
We see way more sisters trying to get involved. We got more brothers trying to argue.
Yeah. Because again, and this is the problem, The numbers are close, but our sisters are a lot more educated. Our sisters have a lot more when it comes to the entrepreneurial space. They have a lot more time to kind of discern what makes sense. They're more intuitive than we are. They have to be. They're the nurturers of our culture. They're the nurturers of our.
If you want to be real, like
Yeah.
I love how you mentioned I want to be emotional. We get
Yeah.
way more emotional.
Yeah.
Take the emotion out of the situation.
Yeah, this is transactional. I need people to understand you live in a corporation.
Black people, can we take the emotion out of it?
Yes, you need to.
We have to.
A
You need
simple
to.
conversation can just change because of our emotions. I don't
Right, but I mean, at some point, you're gonna have to grow up and realize that that's not gonna get you where you need to be. Here's the thing. I've got people who say, well, Dave, I know for a fact you don't like that person. I'm like, yeah, I don't like that person, but that person's the best person for the job. I ain't gotta like you to work with you. I ain't gotta like you to make money with you. You gotta get past that because guess what? Your boss don't like you, but your bitch ass show up for your cubicle.
Every day.
And he uses your bitch ass. He don't like you at all. He can't stand your black skin. He can't stand your nappy hair. He don't like your beard or your Jordans. But guess the hell what? You're producing. That's all that matters. We got to get there. This is a business. And we are stakeholders in a company that we built. And until we realize that we built this company before anybody else, because the folks who quote unquote enslaved us were sitting on their porch drinking country time, having mint julep, and talking about the good old days while we were building this, right? The number one export in this country has been, for the past 247 years, black talent. On every single level of human endeavor. In America, black talent is the number one export, and I defy anybody to prove me wrong. So we need to make sure that we're availing ourselves politically. America is for sale. You better start buying a city council person. I know Kamala says, you better thank a union member. No, you better buy one. You better start writing checks. I think it's great that you go in there, you pull that lever, and you cast your ballot. I think that's phenomenal. Yes, and see, here's the difference, and I remember this as long as I live. Growing up, not necessarily making a ton of money. You know, my mom was a teacher, my daddy was a cop. I remember there used to be these commercials with Phil Rizzuto, and it was called The Money Store. And I'm like, Mom, you always talking about we ain't got no money, we ain't got no money. Yo, Phil Rizzuto on the camera every day talking about the money store. It's where America goes for money. Why don't you get that? She said, David, that's a loan. And I'm like, what's a loan? A loan is money you got to pay back. I said, well, okay, but it can get us out of it. She said it could, but I'm going to be putting a strain on the family. And she said, here's the thing. Even if I wasn't, even if I was to make every single payment, once I owe you, then you own me. I'm going to need y'all to start owning some of these folks because you know who does? Heritage Foundation. You know who does? The National Action Network. You know who does? Pfizer, Moderna. You know who does? Coca-Cola, Pepsi. You know who does? High fructose corn syrup. You know who does? Walmart, Target. Everybody but your black ass. But you worry about Project 2025. Come on, man. Miss me with the bullshit. At some level, you got to realize that because you're not cutting checks, and because you're only going to vote one way, and they know you're only going to vote one way, when you don't, look how upset they get. They pulled Obama out of his $20 million mansion to come chastise us. Because they scared. Because for the first time in 60 years, brothers are like, hold up, wait. We got to start using that. But we got to start using it on a local and regional level. You got to start building relationships. If you don't know who's in charge of your school board, if you don't know who's in charge of the PTA at your kid's school, shut the fuck up about the election. And I mean that on both sides of the aisle.
That's a good point. It's a great point.
And make sure you are registered because there's ways to have conversations with people who ain't registered. You know, there's no point in even having an argument. You know what I'm saying? You wasn't going to do something in the first place.
No, you weren't going to do nothing but pump fake and talk shit at the barbershop.
Yeah.
You're irrelevant to me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care. Again, I don't want to cut you off.
You
I
good?
don't care if you go with Jill Stein, but you need to do something. Like the fact that we sitting here arguing with me about who I'm about to vote for, and you going to personally tell me at the end of the statement, I don't care, but it ain't going to change my life at all.
Truthfully.
What the fuck we have this argument for?
And that, like, but that's the other part of it that people don't realize. Some people are like, third party candidates don't matter. Bitch, then why do you think they run? Yes, they matter. You know, Jill Stein has a phenomenal platform on reparations.
And she literally wakes up every 4 years to run.
That's all she does. And you want to know why? Because Ralph Nader is gone. Ralph Nader can't do it no more. Ralph Nader ain't viable.
He used to be the guy.
He used to be the guy.
She wakes up every 4 years.
And you know what happens? They start chipping away. It's like putting a drip on a rock. Drip, drip, drip. Sooner or later, a rock gonna crack open. Cornel West has another phenomenal agenda when it comes to black people and what we need. Those things are not just symbolic runs. Right. They're there in order to force the powers that be to start taking us more seriously. Right. And the reason they don't take us seriously is because we sit up there and we start hashtagging, we start talking about what we gonna do, and if you don't do this, you ain't black. You let white people tell you your blackness, right, and you let that slide? No, dog. I'm a young and said, not on my watch, beloved.
Before we about to get out, before we go, people come.
Yeah.
We get your opinion on being that we brought up reparations in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Do you think there'll be a candidate that'll be like, all right, it's that time?
It's how you frame it and what's the action.
I honestly don't know, because I don't know what's going to happen after my time. But I will say this: reparations just can't be money. It needs to have a check component. But repair doesn't come with money. I don't do this from an emotional place. And I've been blackity black all my life. I am foundational. The majority of my ancestors were slaves. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, if I pull up any of your damn DNA, I guarantee you I'll find somebody playing Massa Got Loose in the slave quarters. Here's what I'm saying to you. When it comes to reparations, statistically, over 80% of lottery winners wind up broke in 4 years. So if money was the only answer, it is an answer, it's not the only answer. If money was the only answer, this would have been an easy fix, right? The other part of that is when you look at what this country did to the Japanese Americans during World War II, they locked them up, took them from their homes and their businesses, separated them from their children, and guess what? You know what they did afterwards? They repaired them. They repaired the Chinese for when they shortchanged them on making the railroads. They repaired Jewish people. We ain't really had nothing to do with that. We saved the Jews, specifically black regiments in World War II. You know what I'm saying? To the point where even, there have been talks about how the Nazis are like, black people, why y'all fighting this war? This ain't got nothing to do with you. They don't even like you. We have to understand that repair comes from different categories. Number one, we need our own land. Number two, for me, and this is just how I would do reparations. Yeah, I want that money, but I also want an endowment, and I want that money the same way that you handle the police pension, the fireman's pension, all that. You play it on the stock market, you make sure that it's aggressive, but you also make sure that it's insured, so that that money is always there, which is what you should really do with Social Security, but that's a whole conversation for another day. Number two, education and or maximum skills training. What I mean by that is a trade that you can't take away from somebody if an industry becomes obsolete, right? On top of that, you ever see the movie Armageddon?
Yes.
My favorite part of Armageddon is when they say the last thing that they want for getting on that rocket ship and breaking that meteor. And we never want to pay taxes again. You want to know why? Because you taxed my great-great-grandfather. My great-great-grandfather was enslaved. And I know that seems weird, but my grandmother, my father's mother was born in 1904. Her father was born in 1892. His father was born in 1861. I'm lucky that part of my lineage I can trace that far back. But my great-great-grandfather was a slave. Like, that's not that far. Right. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm going to need you to come right, but I also need you to get out of my way, right? I don't need you to do anything that's going to create any more inflation. But since you like inflating stuff, you keep giving money to Ukraine, but you won't take care of our veterans. Right. You keep giving money to Ukraine. You could have taken $20 billion and wiped out and eradicated homelessness. But somehow you find money for illegal immigrants to come over here and get shelter, get food, get clothing, get education for their brats, and training. But you can't do that for American citizens?
It's causing an even bigger crutch on those already here.
Right. Yeah. But, they getting food stamps. They getting Medicaid. Yeah, no, so for me, I think it will happen, but somebody has to make it make sense. And it also has to be a situation where it's also contributing to the greater society at large.
I've been feeling that. Stop giving people checks and tell us what it's going to be.
You know what? Because if they give us the checks, we're going to spend it and we're going to be right back where we are. Plus, the dollar is going to lose its value overnight.
We saw exactly. You saw COVID. Give somebody a check, they're going to spend it. Like, what are we going to do with this? And then also, who is black nowadays?
Oh, shit.
Let's be for real. Who you consider black nowadays? I'm in cannabis right now. They love saying not black. We BIPOC. No, I'm black. No,
I don't know what BIPOC is.
Exactly.
I don't know what that. I know it means black, indigenous, person of color. I don't know what that is. What is of color? White is a color.
It means the minute they say reparations, you black.
Yeah, no. This is not how this works. So let's solve that because first of all, I'm a foundational black American. If you're Jamaican, you need to talk to King Charles.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here, right? If you're Nigerian, you need to talk to King Charles, or the French. If you're Haitian, you need to talk to Ferdinand, whatever the hell his name is, Brigitte Macron, some of them.
Back to France.
Yeah, go talk to France.
Back to France.
But foundational black Americans, I know a lot of people out here like to cosplay like they're foundational, and I ain't shitting on nobody, but I'm keeping it a buck. If your lineage can't trace back to the 1860 census, take care, comb your hair. Simple fix. That's it.
But once we separate that, once that happens, because I don't disagree with that, what happens next? Because the same Jamaicans, the same Nigerians, the same other people from other black people are still ones being punished and oppressed by the same system that started slavery.
They have people they can take those grievances with. That's
And
not.
not from this country. Like you said, we'd have to go back to Great Britain.
You're asking me to fight a fight that has nothing to do with me. That's not my fight.
You answered the question. It's just going to unravel an onion that they don't want to unravel.
They don't want to unravel that onion. Do you realize? Here's the thing, right? This is what I tell people all the time. Show me in the history books where Nigeria or Liberia sent the warships for us. Ghana, did they send the warships for us? Ethiopia, did they send the warships for us? Did anybody who was still on the continent send somebody over here to come get us? When did it happen? No, I'm asking. Anybody? Because it didn't fucking happen. So don't start trying to hitch everybody else to the situation that my ancestors created to make everything better for everybody else. Dick Gregory told me one time, and it changed the way I looked at society. He said, do you know what the civil rights movement really was about? I said, no. He said, not only was it about, black people getting rights, but it was mainly about fat, ugly stewardesses who couldn't get jobs at Pan Am.
He right, because they added that towards the end of it. Right, the civil rights movement, that was added.
Every single movement in this country that has taken effect has been on the backs of black people to benefit non-black people first.
That was added to
So foundational black Americans have a distinction. And before anybody tells me, well, that's a delineation and that's not fair, look at your Instagram profile and take all them fucking flags if you really just down with America. Until you're willing to take down them flags, I don't want to hear that shit. Hold your own nuts, handle your own business, and stay out of my reparations conversation because you don't see me. As many Haitian friends as I got, as many Haitian employees as I got, as many Haitian co-workers, and when I say co-workers, I mean people that I partner with in business. You don't hear me talking about Haiti other than to cut a check and send aid because that's not my fight. I ain't never going to tell a Haitian how to handle their business, so nobody has the right to tell me how to handle mine in this country. When this country and my ancestors paved the way for you to be here, because if your country was that fucking phenomenal, you would still be there. Tell me when I'm telling lies. I know it's uncomfortable and I know it sounds bad, but am I wrong? Because why would you leave paradise? And don't talk to me about how colonized America is. Where one of the number one products they market to black people on the continent of Africa is skin bleach. How many people in Atlanta bleaching their skin? Tell me, pull them in your phone and show them to me.
Not out loud, but inside.
I you said BBL, but that's another story.
But the BBL industry is nothing but this decade's nose job. Because they ran out of Jewish American princesses to do rhinoplasties on. So this is a new untapped, because they ain't tapped everybody, because it's just like, every black man ain't packing, every black woman ain't got a fat ass.
Right.
So let's make you insecure about your ass, and then let's pump it full of shit. Yeah, no.
Because that's the only way you can find a man, and that's a problem with black America.
And most men don't even like that shit. We'll look at it, but we don't like it.
I was gonna end it like that. Listen, I was gonna do the recap and then that's it.
Before we go out, because you're in the hip hop world too. We're all from a certain age.
Certainly.
Do you believe? I know you heard about. Oh, wait, cut all that. Have you seen the Charlemagne commercial with him and Envy?
No.
Have y'all seen it?
Which one?
There's a commercial.
With Biden though, right?
No, there's a commercial with Charlemagne and when they talking about Kamala doing the fucking
I did see that.
transgender shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know they gotta be mad because being that they're a part of a corporation, they have no say so on them giving away that clip. So
They're using that.
Charlamagne and Envy is shitting on Kamala about the fucking.
I thought that was a
shit.
Trump
And that
administration
shit played
tick-off.
all throughout Sunday football. That
Yeah,
shit
it
came
did.
on so many times, and I'm like.
But that's what I'm saying.
God. So I'm like, I wanted to hear your opinion on it, but if you ain't see it, you can see it.
No, but I will tell you this. Like, I've been friends with Charlamagne for the better part of 2 decades. The thing that
Well, let me give you more details before you go.
Yeah.
Just to be more clear. What they're saying is the part where they used a clip from Kamala saying she's willing to do whatever it takes for transgenders to do what they need to do. And while they in jail, right? So Charlamagne and Envy's response was, don't use my tax dollars to pay for that.
right.
So I just wanted to give you a scope to, you know what I mean? That's all. Not sure if that was even going to change your response. But I did remember that while he was talking.
Here's the thing. I will say this. Tax dollars shouldn't be used for sex changes, especially for people who have committed crimes. So you're giving them what they couldn't afford when they were out robbing, stealing, killing, raping, destroying our communities? That doesn't make any sense. But she sat there with that person and said, I made sure that every transgender person got the care that they needed. Nah, because you can use my tax dollars for absolutely anything other than me. That's problematic. I don't know why. I don't understand how.
The wild part is other countries don't take that same approach with Americans. When we go to other countries and get free healthcare and free dental work and free all kind of other shit. It's like we don't ever take that same stance with them. Like you go to whole countries that you don't want them to come here because they got cheap dental work.
Yeah, no. And I'm with you on that. But my whole thing is the majority of Americans aren't doing that. And so for me, exceptions don't disprove the rule. The truth of the matter is our dollars are being sent all over the world, not to the benefit of Americans. And that to me is problematic. I think that we need to start hedging our bets. I think we need to start holding politicians accountable. And we have a right to question the people we put in office. I know y'all don't like to do that because if you have a hard problem voting for me or Trump, you ain't black. But let me tell you something. How many people in here have 300 employees? How many of those employees are black? 298. Oh wait, that's me.
298.
298. So I don't want to hear nothing about how black you are. Because how many black jobs have you created? Exactly. 4 versus 300. I could do this all day. 4 is still phenomenal, and I'm not shitting on it. One black job that keeps them out of the system is phenomenal. Here's where I'm going with this. And this, understand that politics is business, and business is financial. And this is a corporation that masquerades and cosplays at the United States of America. I went to Missoula, Montana on a consulting gig. Ain't a whole lot of black people in Missoula, Montana, so you can pretty much gauge who hired me to consult them. And I called one of my best friends on the face of the planet. And his name is David Banner. And I said to him, yo, I got this gig in Missoula, I consulted, I killed it, this, that, and the third. He was like, that's good, bro. I said, what's wrong? He said, there's nothing wrong. He was like, damn, no, I hate that. I said, what? He said, because if we had you, you wouldn't need them. Fast forward about 6 years. He does this podcast. I was like, yo, how about advertisement? He sent me somebody and I talked to him. I said, cool. I said, yeah, I bought a whole show. I bought every commercial for over a year. Every single commercial. Because I don't need my friend feeling like he got to dance where he need to be free to say whatever he wanted to. I spent so much money on that show that he had to give me a refund of like $7,000. That's what it's about. Every decision that you make is political. Your financial decisions are political and your political decisions are financial. And if they're not, then you're emotional and they got you. But when you treat it like it's transactional, I'm giving you something. You've never paid somebody without getting something in return. You ain't never going to Target and say, here's $200. That don't happen. You get something for your money. Your vote is also your money. But with your vote, you also need to put something down financially, and I think that that is extremely important. But yeah, when Kamala Harris decides that, I saw the commercial where Trump says she's for they, them.
Yeah, that was the same commercial.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I had my back turned because I was fixing the dog's food or doing something.
Charlamagne and Envy is in the front of that commercial.
Yeah, listen. I thought that was crazy, but guess what? When you're a public figure, hey, all is fair in love. Yeah, so, like, to me, I'm not really bugged out by that because you put it out there. Just like you said on The View, which is a friendly program to you, that you can't think of one thing you to change versus what Joe Biden, is what she called him Joe Biden would have done. So how are you turning the page if you're just going to give me more of the same? That right there is a contradiction. How are you going to say that reparations need to be studied when you told Al Sharpton you was going to give us reparations as soon as it came across your desk? Again, all I'm stating is facts. Right? I think Donald Trump needs to come out with a better platinum plan because the new platinum plan has not been released. I've heard that he's working on it. I want to see what it is. I don't think he goes far enough for what he needs to do for black people. And I want a candidate to be okay with saying, hey, black people need stuff too. Because if you don't know, see, here's where racists go wrong. And there are racists on both sides of the aisle, including the one who's sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, who y'all think is your friend because he was the vice president of Obama, when y'all realize that he was a blue dog Democrat and he was there to balance the Obama ticket. The problem with racists is they don't realize that black people, see, every other community spends days, if not weeks, if not months, circulating their money. Our money lasts in our community 6 hours before we go spending it with somebody else. So if anything, reparations would be helping white people more, would be helping black people.
More crazy why they don't want to give it up.
Because then they have to admit to all the wrongdoing, and that opens them up to what would happen when the UN decides to sanction them for crimes against humanity and the largest genocide in history. But
onion thing, bro. They hang out with the onion, bro.
You got so going to?
It's gonna start stinking.
One more thing. Back
Sure.
to the music.
Sure.
Thing about, damn, I thought about it before.
It's gonna
Did you
start.
tell me? I don't think you told me.
It was about the music beforehand. Being that you see how we're from a certain age. And remember how we heard about the whole thing about people, the whole jail system. Hey, we making the music to put the people in jail and this, that, and the third. And now years have gone by. We've seen it semi come to fruition, and the top people who is at the top is going in jail. Do you think that the plan was set? Hip hop, the plan was successful, basically.
of course it was. You got to realize every 30 years they refresh with a brand new person. That's nothing new. Do your math. Right? When somebody outgrows their usefulness, when they stop making hits, when they think that they're bigger than the agenda, and when you start pissing off the wrong people, they're going to pull your card because you're going to give them something. All you got to do to understand the hip-hop industry is watch The Devil's Advocate. Everybody got a vice. Everybody got a tell. Everybody got an issue. Everybody got a thing that's imperfect. Everybody's got an Achilles heel, up to and including me. The difference is I don't really buy into the system. Who you going to call? You going to call my boss? Wait, I am my boss. You had to call Jesus. You might have a good run with my wife, but I can divorce my wife. Then I've completely neutralized the situation. See, I'm cool with being out of the system. Most people love the system. It's the difference between a Dame Dash and a Jay-Z. Jay-Z wanted to keep using the white folks' money. Dame Dash wanted to just use the money they were making off the white folks. Two schools of thought. Neither one is wrong. It just depends on your perspective and what you want out of the situation. I think right now we have to understand that Puffy's outgrown his usefulness. And people are like, well, Cassie was just so... Cassie was activated. Everybody was activated. Monica Lewinsky was activated. It's just for such a time as this. And by the way, it's funny how they hem up the mayor of New York, they hem up Puffy, but Matt Lauer, and I used to work for NBC Universal. I can tell you can't get a paperclip past security without them knowing about it. So how does an entire desk get installed with James Bond villain level buttons on it that can lock the door, close it, shut the blinds, and turn off the lights?
Bro, we can get into social media if that's the case, because I don't see how Vince McMahon has been able to go for the 4
Right,
decades
see, he's been doing.
being who he has, and ain't never felt, and he never saw a courtroom except for a steroids case.
Vince McMahon for a very long time ran a company that wasn't publicly traded. When he went public, it became a problem. That's what that is.
So do you think as black companies should be? Because that's the thing too. How do we stay together? Because it's like, damn, every time we try to excel, we have to fuck with them. And then when we fuck with them, there's always a problem.
Because the problem is there's a difference between fucking with them and getting in bed with them. The other part of that is, right? If I work, and I work all over the world. There are black people all over the world, but there's some people I work with who ain't black. But the difference is if I work with a Jewish person on a particular project, that Jewish dollar in my hand becomes a black dollar that I can then pay my 298 black employees. That's the difference. I'm not thinking that everybody is my friend. I'm black people first. I'm not black people exclusively. I'm black people first. They're at the front of my line, unlike the U.S. government where we're at the back of the line, but they keep beating us to death and taking our money and our blood. So for me, it's a matter of, one, understanding that this is a corporation and this is transactional. Number two, understanding that everybody's not your friend. And number three, you got to throw out your trash. Some of y'all, like, watch this. White people put their trash in trailer parks. Indian people put their trash in slums. Black people put their trash upstairs in the bedroom and slide the plate under the door. Tell me where I'm telling lies. So at the end of the day, we won't reject our trash. We're like, man, that's just Pookie. He's all right.
Okay.
But it goes on emotion because we
Again, this is not a, you're playing an emotional game.
I'm like, I'm always going, I'm going to fuck with you first.
And I'm always gonna fuck with you. Listen, real rap, this man hit me. Watch this. I'm gonna tell, this man hit me, was like, yo, you want something to drink? I said, I want some Jack Daniels honey and some lemon pepper wings. Wings was hot and ready. Jack was on deck. I love that man for that. Because he showed up for me. But this is business. I hate you. I hate everything about you. I hope all the bad things in life that could possibly happen to you. But that's the thing. I can emotionally love that brother, but still tell him professionally he's fucking up. We don't do that. We wrap everything together. They don't do that. I fell when I was in my senior year of college. They told me I'd never walk again without the use of a cane. You see a cane with me? That's because my lawyer, it's a guy named Mike Lerner at the time. He's no longer my lawyer. I don't even know where Mike Lerner is. It's been 30 years. But Mike Lerner said, I'm going to find you. I know the best medical professional who's going to make it, so I don't give a damn what that hospital told you. You'll walk without a cane. I guarantee it. And I'm like, this motherfucker's crazy. He said, hey, Richie, you son of a bitch. I'm sending you a client. His name's Dave Anderson. I told him you can make him walk without a cane in 6 months. Can you do it? Of course you can. Fuck you. Love you. See you later.
That's it.
He was like, I grew up with Richie. He's a fucking putz, but he's great at what he does. He's going to take care of you. He's looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 9. And for 6 months, that man put me through all types of physical therapy, all types of medical treatments. And I haven't walked with a cane since I fell 2 stories. It's not about me walking or not walking with a cane. It's that whether he liked Richie or not, he knew who to give the business to. Because when that settlement came in, Mike Lerner got his piece, Richie got his piece, and I got what was left over. We don't do that. I'm always, if I'm in town and I can pull up, I'm going to pull up. And that's the funny thing. I ain't been here in 312 pounds in 6, 7 years. I said, yo, I remember. He's like, you going to remember when you get here? I was like, yeah, I've been here. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to pull up on my people because I'm not above my people. I love my people. I want my people to win. If this does any numbers for you, I'm not like, yo, kick me back on the back end of your daggone monetization. My money comes from the clips. We got to get past stupid shit. We can't step over dollars to just pick up some dimes. We got to step over the dimes and the trinkets and the bullshit and the stupid ass deals to get to the real money. Everybody else, the Jews, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Arabs, the Ethiopians, the Nigerians, everybody's getting to the money except us. And like, thank you, stupid niggas. on that, I yield my time.
Amazing, brother. Real quick. Once again, the event tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
It is called Bridging the Wealth Gap.
Bridging the Wealth Gap. Yes, sir. It's going to be an amazing event. I'm super excited about it. I found out last night we sold out, and I'm like, oh, shit, this just got real. But that's the thing. I got what I want to say in mind, but I can get up there, read the crowd, and God will give me a completely different message to deliver. But I will tell you, if you care about entrepreneurship and you haven't bought a ticket yet, I would just get my face in the place and just buy the VIP. Because, yeah, it's $250 for the VIP, but you get to see Master P, you get a T-shirt, you get an autograph, you get to sit in choice seating, and you're going to get this work.
That's it.
You're going to get this work. So I have not, when I tell you I have given a lot of speeches in my day, I am, to this point, in the, 2024? So in the 33 years I've been speaking professionally, I am more excited about this speech than I have been ever. And I'm happy, regardless of who you rock with in the entrepreneurial space. And I got a lot of smoke for a lot of gurus, but in reality, I'm happy that people want to be entrepreneurs again. My grandmother, my mother's mom, said, I couldn't get with my kids on the civil rights movement. I said, Mimar. She said, no, hear me out. And she's like, I was born in 1920-something. She said, for me, I raised my children, every last one of my children except for your mama, was born in a black hospital with black nurses and black doctors. Name a black hospital. I said, Howard University Hospital. She said, name 3 more. I couldn't. She was like, we knew who our butcher was. We know the farm that he went to. And the farm he went to was farmed by a black farmer, so we knew where the meat was coming from. We knew all our kids' teachers. Everybody knew each other. I'm not saying things were perfect, but my kids went and marched and got hoses poured on them and dogs sicked on them so they can sit at lunch counters and eat unseasoned food. I don't get it. My grandmom was a little bit raw about these types of things. My whole thing is, I'm happy to see us coming together. Even if we have differences of opinion, even if we got different ways of getting to the top of the mountain, I love the fact that we're together in trying to free people from the 40-40-40 plan, which is 40 hours a week for 40 years to retire on 40% of your income. Nah, that's bad math. The math ain't mathing on that for me. So y'all need to come to this situation at New Birth. I thank God for Pastor Bryant putting it on. I thank God for Master P for allowing it to happen. And I thank God that I'm able to grace that stage with so many great people.
We thank you, brother. We're looking forward to what's next.
Hey, man, I'm looking forward to what's next. I get excited every morning. I don't know what the hell God's going to throw at me, but I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm thrilled to be walking in my purpose. And thank you for the platform, and thank you for taking the time to sit down with me, man.
My pleasure, brother. Great job, man.
I'm trying, you know.
Listen, man, that's more than a great job.